Hey guys, so recently I was looking through my finances, then looking at my budgets, and I thought, wow, I haven't actually shared like a proper routine of how I do my financial reset. So I do these monthly reset videos where I share with you the budget from previous month, the budget that I'm planning for the new month, and all of that good jazz. But I realized I haven't actually done like a proper explanation of what my financial reset, as I call them, looks like, because for every single YouTuber that I have seen, everybody does things a little bit differently. A bit, most of it is the same. Like, we look at how did our previous month go, what are our plans for the new month. But I feel like we all touch on different things. At the end of the day, we're all trying to achieve the same goal, which is stay on top of our finances. And I thought I share with you how I do mine. Now, I have my notepad here where I have written down a couple of bullet points. It's just three main areas that I focus on, and I want to stay on point throughout this video because I am known to talk for Queen and Country, and I don't want to deviate too much in this video. So I'm going to be looking on this side, my right, a lot as I look at what I have written down, because this is something I do all the time. But to keep me focused on the goal, I'm going to be reading what I have here. So when it comes to doing a financial reset, you can do it however you like, because personal finance is personal. But if you're new to managing your finances, or if you just want to spice up your finances or do things differently, here's how I do my financial reset, and hopefully you'll find this useful. If you do, please give this video thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below. So the first thing that I do is I look at my previous budget. So I review the previous month's budget. So what does this look like for me? So I look at, what did I budget initially? What did I budget for the income? What did I budget for the expenses? So, first my main bills, then the variable expenses, then investing, paying off debt, saving, all of that good jazz. What did I budget? Then I switch on to what actually happened. So if I predicted that I'm going to bring in £5,000 in income, is that how much I brought in, or did I bring in more? If I did bring in more, how did I spend that money? So I look at those things in detail, and I also highlight in my trackers, which you can find in the link description below, where I literally highlight every single expenditure where I have gone over. So if I have gone over what I initially budgeted, you'll see that in red. If I haven't spent it at all, because maybe the bill I expecting to come didn't actually get charged that month because of one reason or another, or maybe because I just didn't spend on that expense, so you'll see that in green, because 90% of the time in green means I just move that money towards my savings instead. And it's also like a little reminder for myself that this item, which is green, you have already moved the money to a savings account. So green just means that money has been already sent to a savings account, even though for what it was budgeted for, it didn't actually happen. So that's how I do it. Another important thing that I like to do is, whenever I'm closing down the budget, looking at the previous month's budget, I like to look at expenditures that are still pending. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally use credit cards for variable expenses. So my bills all come out direct debit or standing order from my personal checking account. But when it comes to everyday spending, like my groceries, fuel, all of that good jazz, I put that all on a credit card. And let me just say this, I used to have a bad relationship with credit cards many years ago. I want to say 15 years ago, but I don't anymore, because it took a lot of hard lessons, but also a lot of discipline to tell me, to teach me that, don't spend money that you don't have. That's my motto. If I don't have it, I don't spend it. So if I go and spend £100 on fuel, best believe in my budget, I do have £100 for fuel. If I don't, there's something else in my budget that I'm going to switch up for. I'm going to sacrifice that thing so that I can then pay that credit card off. I don't like spending on the credit card when I know I don't have any money in the account to actually pay that off. And I'm also somebody who Likes maybe I go and sell it to Saturday and I'm going out to run errands, I'm buying left, right, and center before I leave my house. This notebook and many other notebooks I've had over the last few years tells me exactly how much I have in variable spending and for each category, because I write everything down. I know I have it in a tracker, but I also write it down so that when I'm leaving the house, I know exactly how much I have, exactly how much I spend, and I always write lists of everything that I need before I leave the house. So I always go to do my errands, buy what I need to buy, with at the back of my mind with the knowledge that I have this amount of money, and when I get back home I'm going to clear the balance on these credit cards. Now I have credit cards with my main bank, Barclays. That one does not allow you to pay immediately the balance that you owe. It has to, pass through first. It has to come out of pending and get charged fully before you're allowed to make a payment towards it. But for banks like American Express, so for my Amex, because I have their bank details and I've got my card as a reference number, I just send that money immediately after I spend, so that I'm never charged. So for me, I know when my statement date is, when my billing date is, so I never ever get charged interest, purely because I play the game, So I always clear the balance before my statement date. I always clear the balance, whenever I spend, so that I don't get any charges to pay interest. But that's how I do it. But I look at those pending charges purely because I need to know if the money is the money that I have in the account the money that I'm actually going to go with in the new month, or is part of that money that I'm keeping to pay for the pending expenses. So this is how I do it. I think it's so important to look at your pending charges, because I have been caught out a couple of times myself when I am budgeting and I think, oh yeah, because I paid for this in last month's budget, but when I look in my bank account, it's being charged today. I'm like, wait, didn't I not pay for this already? Then kind of just messes up with the numbers. I mean, obviously they're my tracker, so I can go and correct that, but I just hate when that happens. So I normally look at pending charges, so I know. So maybe I have, like, say, I always have a buffer of about £2,000 to cover the bills, because on the first day of the month is when they all come out. So I know that yes, this £2,000, this £3,000, or however much I have is what I'm going into the new month with. I know for sure. But if I know for sure that of that 2,000 or 3,000, whatever, 500 of that belongs to expenses that I haven't yet cleared on the credit card, I'm not going into the new month with 2,000 or 3,000. I'm going into the new month with 500 less, because that money is earmarked for something else. So I'm not exactly going with it. That's how I do it. And another thing that I do, which is not common, it's quite rare for me, is look at any cash that I have. I rarely have cash on hand. Like, I tap away so much that I can't remember the last time I actually had money in my purse. I want to say 2 weeks ago when I got my hair done, I took out some money because my hairdresser only takes cash, but that was literally from the cash machine, went to her house, did my hair, paid her, didn't even touch my account. It went straight into my jeans and to her and then back, and that's it. Like, I don't usually have cash, but there are times when like somebody owes me money and they give it back to me in cash. That does happen. So I really don't do cash, but I try to check just in case. So that's the first part of how I do my financial reset. So I start off with reviewing the previous month's budget. I look at the income. What did I plan? What actually came in? I look at the outgoings. What did I predict I was going to spend, especially on variable expenses, and what did I actually spend? Then I look at any pending charges. These charges that are going to most likely clear in the new month. Do I have money available for that and stuff like that? Then I also look at cash on hand if any. So that's one. Number two is planning out my budget, and this is something that I share in all my budget with me videos, how I show you how I am budgeting for the new month. But I will quickly go through it because obviously I budget for the regular bills, right? So I know all of my bills. I know how much my mortgage is, how much my electricity is, all of these things off by heart, but it doesn't hurt to double check that this is still the case. And then once I look at that, I also then go and look at what are my savings goals for the new month. And do I have a goal to say save £1,000 in July, or maybe £500 in July? Like, what kind of goals do I have for that month? Do I have a goal to invest £1,000? All of that good jazz, I look into that when I'm planning the budget for the new month. Then I also pay particular attention to my quarterly and annual bills. So in June, I had my buildings and contents insurance for one of my rental properties come up as an annual bill for that to come through. For some reason, it hasn't been charged, but I'm still waiting for that to be charged. So I look at those things very closely. One of the bills that I pay every 6 months or thereabouts is water. So I know for the month of August that that's coming up, and my budgeting tracker reflects that, because when you look at my budgeting spreadsheets that I share every month, I think the last one where you saw water on it was back in March, and the next one isn't until August, I believe, or thereabouts. So I always pay attention to these bills, and these notepads that I have lying around, I have recorded all of this information. So I have recorded from January to December. What bills do I have that are annual? What bills do I have that are quarterly? What are the months that they appear in, and how much am I expecting? Like, for example, for insurances, if I paid £200 for the annual policy last year, I'm expecting to pay maybe £230 or £250. So I'll probably like start in my sinking fund saving up for the new year to put £250. Obviously, I'll go to comparison sites and check if there's a better offer, and if there isn't a better offer than my current provider, then I'll stick with my current provider. If there is, then obviously Bob's your uncle, I will move to the new one, provided that they're offering everything that I require for whatever the insurance is. So I always look at the annual and quarterly bills that I have. Like, I have a lot of apps. I realize like I have a lot of apps that I pay for on my phone, and I make sure that I don't do monthly payments for those, because that $4.99 here, $6.99 there, they really add up on your budget. So for me, I prefer to have them annually, so I'll just pay the whole annual amount if I can afford it. If I can afford it, I'll pay for it the whole month, because I just like having less bills every single month and sending the money that I would have normally sent to the monthly payment for that app into a sinking fund. And then come October, most of my apps are due in October, I make that payment. So that is the second way of how I do my financial reset. So planning for the new month, I look at my regular bills and just double check that nothing is changing on them. I look at my savings goals. What do I want to achieve in the new month? Then I look at quarterly and annual bills to see if there's anything that I need to pay for, like subscriptions that are coming up due, or insurances that need to be renewed, and all of that good jazz. So I count for them in my new budget. The final thing that I like to do is I like to track my net worth. I have trackers. I have apps. My bank helps me track my net worth. I have these notebooks where I write everything down. I feel like just writing it all down feels so much better than me just typing in the numbers for some reason. I love it, and I have been incorporating Notion into my tracking my net worth as well. So we'll see how that goes. If I like it, then I'll share it more on here, but I like to track my net worth. And if you're not familiar with what net worth is essentially what are your assets, the things that you own, and what are your liabilities, the things that you owe on. And then all you do is assets minus liabilities, and the end result of that is your net worth. Please remember, your net worth is not a reflection of your self-worth. This is just a tool, one of the many tools that you can use on your financial journey, just to see where things are within your financial life. That's it. That's all it is. But I love using it to help me just track and see, because I definitely am on track to be a millionaire in soon. So I'm tracking the numbers very, very closely, very, very closely. But so with tracking my with my net worth, so I start off first with the assets. So for me, my assets are my homes, then it's my investments. I don't necessarily track my vehicle, purely because, oh, my camera is doing something funny. Can you, oh yeah, okay. I don't track my vehicle, even though it's paid off. It's a depreciating asset, and yes, I could include it if I wanted to, but where then do I stop? Do I just stop at my vehicle, or do I include other assets that I have in my home, right? So I just figured I will focus on tracking my houses, I will focus on tracking my investments, and then money I have saved. These are the three blocks that I track in terms of my assets. Maybe in the future this might change. I know at the beginning when I started sharing my financial journey on YouTube back in 2020, or is it 2021? I'm not really sure. When I started sharing, I did include my car. But over the years, I've realized actually, I don't want to, so I don't anymore. But yeah, so I do that with my assets. Now, when it comes to the investments themselves, I've got several apps. I invest with Vanguard, I invest with Legal & General, then I invest with Freetrade, I invest with Equate. I even have crypto, which I don't even know why anymore, but I do. So I look at all of those apps, websites, write down the numbers, because what is going on with this camera of mine? Oh my goodness. Like, it is recording, but I'm fuzzy for some reason. Why am I fuzzy? Okay, there I am. Okay, so yeah, I track everything down. I feel like my camera is trying to tell me to wrap this video up, and I'm about to. So I track all of my assets. I look at the apps, the websites, write everything down, and I do track my net worth on the last day of the month. So I track at 9 a.m. and also at 5 p.m. when I think the markets in the UK close. So that's when I take down the numbers. And then, you know, with the liabilities, I try and do the same as well. I look at the liabilities, and for me right now, it is my mortgages as well as my personal loan that I took out. So there is those liabilities to track. Then another thing that I do, which is like, you know, not ideal, but I like competing against myself, not others, just myself. So I look at what was my net worth last month, what were the changes, and you know, what areas can I improve in. Then I also take it far back, 12 months back, what was my net worth this time last year. So I kind of try to look at the numbers and see how much progress I have made. Like, I try and do that, and let me tell you, I feel like I've been stuck with a certain net worth number for a while, that I'm hoping to get to a higher number, like 500K in net worth, but that is proven to be a tad bit difficult. It's one of my goals for 2023, and I'm gonna make a video about that soon. So watch this space. Like, really watch this space. We shall see exactly how that progresses. But that's how I do it. I review previous budget and I focus on several key areas. Then I plan for the new month and I take note of what new bills, well, not even just new bills, but what annual quarterly bills are coming up that I need to ensure are budgeted for. And then I track my net worth as the last activity that I do. And all of this, I write everything down, everything. I mean, to the last cent. I like writing things down. It makes me feel happy. So yeah, I think that is it really. That is how I do my financial reset. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video.